Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Yo, hey, how's it going, everybody? Hello. Shouts to Ibrahim in chat. Hello, Mark. Well, I should probably, I was gonna say we should probably like roll intro or at least do our introduction. So, hey guys, how's it going? My name is Justin.
Mark.
And you're watching or listening to episode. Actually, what podcast episode is this? Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot to add the title. I was so focused on adding, like, what exactly are we talking about versus actually adding the title of the podcast.
Title.
It's episode 457 DangIT Prodcast. I'm going to go ahead and retroactively add that in. Welcome back, everybody. It's a pretty big week as far as, like, games, and there's definitely stuff I really want to talk about. But, Mark, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing all right, all things considered. Actually, I'm doing great. It's just that there's a process following after great. I'm like, But I'll talk about that a little bit after. But one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about, it was actually a game that came out yesterday, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, it did come out yesterday for the public. So I have it titled, it's Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It's the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, which was released in... God, do you remember from the top of your head, like, when that was released?
Was it 2020, 2021?
Yeah, it wasn't too, like, long ago, but they definitely took their time to, like, develop, like, a sequel. In fact, we didn't even know about one until, like, maybe...
I mean, they had said, like, I think they had said, like, yeah, don't trust me, his journey's not over, there's gonna be another one. Let's see, when does Fallen Order release? It released on... it's actually earlier than I said. November 10th, 2019.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It was 2019. Ibrahim will definitely talk about Tears of the Kingdom very soon. Big trust on that. But I wanted to get Mark's feedback on the game because there's been some... Obviously, like, the last people in the room are the ones who are going to speak first about it. But what are your thoughts about, like, having played through the game? And actually, question, how long have you been playing it for now? Long.
But
have you slept?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
On both nights, I've gone to bed around, like, 1.
All right, okay. Not all-nighters, but, you know.
But, I mean, if you ask me, it feels really good. Like, I know some people are having technical issues. Me, on my end, I'm not really having... I've had maybe one crash, that's it.
Oh. Well,
one singular crash.
Before we jump into that, I have another question. Has Judy kicked you?
She's not here.
I mean, like, throughout the course of those 2 nights.
No, she's not here.
Oh, that's what you mean. Like, throughout. Okay, got you.
Yeah, she's in Kentucky for her college reunion. I thought I told you that.
I didn't know, like, how long that would be.
Yeah, she's coming back tomorrow.
Gotcha. So, I'm actually surprised you didn't decide to do, like, all-nighters for this one. I know you're...
That's because I know I need sleep.
Better man than I. I remember when, I don't know why it was specifically Assassin's Creed 3, but for Assassin's Creed 3, I definitely did an all-nighter. And I wasn't, like... granted, I was a little bit younger at that time, so maybe I just...
Halo Reach.
Did I do Halo Reach all-nighter? Have I said anything about that? You did?
Shit did.
Oh, okay. No, okay, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. But yeah, I would still, like, stay up, like, pretty late. Actually, I was up pretty late last night just doing a bunch of, like, data organization. It was, that was a pain. But going back into Jedi Survivor, so you're saying that for your personal experience, you haven't really had any type of issues, just, like, as far as, yeah, I guess, like, performance and, like, as far as crashing, like, it only happened, like, the one time, right? And you're playing this on the Xbox Series X.
Yes, and that one time was literally like an hour or 2 ago.
Oh, really? Do you know what happened during that time? Was it anything like about, like, I guess maybe like an influx of enemies, or was it just something just completely random?
Using a certain mechanic, and as soon as a certain mechanic got to the point where it was supposed to clear it up, I guess something clicked and the game said, "Oh, 1 second, back."
Ooh.
But once it reloaded, I did it again. It was fine.
Oh, okay. So far, yeah, you're pretty solid for the
and
experience.
it's a fantastic game.
I know Phil had asked you beforehand in Messenger about like what you were playing, like quality versus performance. Are you doing quality?
Yes.
Ah, I see. See, I've always been one for performance, but I was looking at this one. I was like, okay, well, if it's not going to run like a full 60 consistently, or even close to that, maybe quality is kind of the way to go. Just if anything, just to keep it consistent there, if possible. And honestly, this is one of those games that actually is like current gen and not just trying to like link itself to like the previous gen stuff. So like as far as like Xbox like One or PlayStation 4, they don't have that. Like this is like just straight up like the current consoles and Steam.
Mm-hmm.
I know that as you were saying earlier, PC users are definitely having a tough time playing through the games, not just because like they have like um higher than needed like rigs to run this game, and they're still like suffering through that. I think a lot of people could probably attribute that to just simply what's the word for it?
It's also because one of the issues was people have those rigs, but those rigs are meant for Windows 11 and they're using Windows 10.
Is that one of the cases? Okay.
I heard that being the case for some.
Okay. Well,
I was like, well, at that point, it's not their fault. At that point,
yeah, it's just that like
granted, it should still work. Obviously, I'm not saying that they don't have a reason to be mad, but I am saying like, well, I can see why they're having an issue then if they're not using the right software on the right version of Windows.
True. It does really suck though, because like stuff like that that does like, I mean, if we were doing like, I guess like an Xbox like review for like Jedi Survivor, it'd still be ranked pretty high despite some performance issues, and like maybe just like the case of like a few crashes like over the course of the full game. I've definitely had and like as a personal like review of mine, I would probably say, hi Beefling, how's it going? I would probably talk about like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like Violet has crashed on me a few times over the course of me playing through like the entirety of the main game and then post game as well. But and of course we could talk about like the visuals on that one and the performance there as well. None of that really like bothers me, but so I'd probably like I'd have a personal review of it like similar to Jedi Survivor, if not higher for Jedi. So yeah, but when we're talking about the masses, they definitely have like a different take on it, especially if they're really having a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean,
story-wise, the game's been fantastic.
I bet. Like
honestly, the way they're incorporating the High Republic stuff with it, it's honestly making for a very interesting experience.
Yeah, like
it's something that you wouldn't normally. It's something that's like, this is new. It's like I haven't really seen this that much in Star Wars before.
Yeah, I think I saw a bit of like the opening through someone else's stream. They were just playing like the beginning parts of it.
Very strong opening.
Very strong opening. They talk about like, and this is only because I kind of know a little bit of some stuff going on like outside of just like main media, like movies and whatnot, and the video games even, where they talk about like stuff that Cal Kestis has done already. I'm like, oh, that's probably some novel that was like written up that they had already had. So they probably like just kind of like sprinkle that in there, even though I personally don't remember that kind of stuff. If not,
I'm trying to think about what the fuck you're talking about.
Like Cal like is he's kind of like he's held captive. And the guy like bald-headed guy who I believe shows up in like Obi-Wan, I don't remember. Yeah, he's talking to Cal, and he's like kind of like relaying all the things that he's been doing that's made him like a little bit more like notorious. And I was like, I don't remember that specifically, so maybe that's like a graphic novel thing. Because I know
you're saying that right now. I'm like, he talks to Cal about that? I didn't know that.
Maybe, I don't know. I remember how far that is like into like the game. Well, actually no, that looks like an intro to the game. Beefling is talking about no, he's not. He's just addressing me as title, the Inquisitor.
The Inquisitor.
No, he was the I think he's the senator. The guy who was like talking to Cal for a little bit. But
Oh, him. Now I know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, you're talking about him.
okay.
I
So
was so confused. I was like, wait a minute. Bald guy. I'm like, bald guy, bald guy, bald guy, bald guy, bald guy.
but dude, what was I gonna say about that? Yeah. Oh, right. I guess I should talk about it. Yeah. So, guys, be wary of spoilers. Obviously, there's obviously people who would like get their hands on the game like pretty early and just post spoilers. I'm not sure. I can vouch. I
What
can't.
are you about to hit me with?
I'll be as vague as I need to be. But ooh, let me see. Well, I do know that a certain character within the universe is brought in. Someone we've seen recently in some Disney Plus shows. But
Oh, yeah, I'm aware of that.
and then I think some later parts of the game is where like you know how they describe Cal as a little bit more like apprehensive. He's a little like less trusting because he's just been away from his team for a while. And we already know that he reunites with them like over the course of the game. And then there's some other characters as well. And there's like one. There's like one that's like, this is not right. Even though like there's no like question of it. Like there's there's something up with one of the characters. There's something going on with one of the characters. I know about that. And
Traitor!
like and it's just unfortunate because like this is literally obviously this is not from Twitter or anything. It's from TikTok where like the point of TikTok is to like grab your attention with one video over the course of like a few seconds.
Are you telling me there's a traitor in our midst?
I'm not saying anything beyond what I've said.
I was gonna say because now I'm like, man. Now that I got this, now I'm wondering, and now I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where like the way it was spoiler, it was just like it was text like at the very top of the screen, and then of course the actual clip of it itself. So it's like it's very hard to dodge, and you just have to be wary like when you're on like social media stuff like that. That like stuff like that happens. I also like that's how I got spoiled with My Hero with the All Might scene. Because it was like one of those things where like it dodged all my like muted words because it was just like, oh look, it's All Might, like he's going in. And of course he's like the guy's like hyped about it, but he like literally posted the image of it, and I was like, ooh, okay. Granted, that scene's sick, but like I didn't read it at the time. But yeah, those are the only two things I really know about it so far. After that, I've become much more wary, like Cal. I've grown less trusting of those of others. All I got is myself and Beatty, maybe without a poncho. Just kidding. I already know there's a poncho in the game.
Oh yeah, you can wear the poncho if you want.
Yeah, like there was obviously questions about like, are we bringing back ponchos? And like obviously like trailers have not really shown that, but like people who have posted have shown it. Like yeah, no, there's a poncho. I'm not even sure if that's a spoiler. Spoilers, you get clothing.
Spoiler poncho. Spoilers.
Spoilers for that poncho drip. Although I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want a poncho now.
I'm not gonna lie, that poncho would be kind of fresh.
When we were going to our it was around December of last year when we were going on our like cousin's trip. Like my brother actually like brought a poncho with him. Apparently he had to do it for like his workplace for like in a little event, but it looked pretty practical. I was like, oh, yeah, people do wear ponchos. And then of course I'm reminded of obviously a much more notable character who's been wearing ponchos, and that's of course Cal. And I was like, maybe I should wear ponchos, but it's too warm here though.
And of course I'll say this right out, the combat in the game is good.
Okay, cool.
Every lightsaber stance feels really good.
Okay, cool. Is it a spoiler too to talk about like all the different like like maneuvers and weapons you have?
No, it's not, because the stances were made public way before.
Oh, but I'm not talking about the stances.
Weapons. You're talking about.
Oh, you don't know. Okay, I
No,
won't.
you say weapons. You say weapons, as in I'm like, oh, like I mean, that depends on what you mean by that, because I feel like I could know what you mean,
Okay,
but now I'm just like,
yeah, like I won't say anything. I won't say anything. I just want to
like,
know exactly what do you know and what do I know. But I
because
don't.
I mean, the only thing I could think you're referring to is the blaster stance. That's all I can think of that you're referring
Oh,
to.
okay, that's what I'm talking about. The blaster stance.
Well, yeah, because that's not a spoiler, because that's our thing. You should just say the blaster stance.
Well, I didn't know like if that was a spoiler or not. I forgot about it. I didn't know like if it was a spoiler or not that like Cal literally gets a gun.
Yeah, it's one of the stances. It's the blaster stance.
Okay, okay, okay. Sorry, I've been completely out of the loop for like Jedi Survivor, except for that recent like trailer that they had prior to launch. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what's been like the new hot thing that like they've shown, and that's all I saw. And from what I remember, I didn't see a blaster like in that one.
Well,
So
they had that like one of the trailers before that too. You know, it was like that's actually revealed a while ago.
okay, see, I didn't. Anyway,
You're like I never picked up on that.
I personally did not. I just got hyped for that last trailer, and you know what? That's what the trailer does.
Is that the only trailer you watched?
No, there was definitely like obviously the teaser for it, so that was like super cool. But I honestly I have not really kept up with like the updates as far as like what's going on there. Not because I was trying to do an Anaya thing and avoiding spoilers. I just had other things to focus on.
You're like I just had other things that took my priorities.
Yeah, pretty much. So like when I saw the blaster, I was like, oh my god, he's packing heat.
Yeah, you get the blaster like the two new stances they added to the game, because we already have single saber, saber staff,
Right.
and dual sabers. They added in the blaster, which is basically a lightsaber in one hand, gun in the other hand, and the cross guard saber,
Yeah, I did see that.
which is the basically a heavy stance.
Okay, cool. Like it's
Much
called
like
a
a
heavy
cla-
stance.
much like you would have as like a claymore essentially.
Mm,
Basically, it's a little bit slower on the wind up for its moves, but it does good damage.
that's good.
I mean, like you can get through the game using any stance really, but there are some that people will say are better than others. Like blaster stance is pretty high up there.
Got you. Got you. I was just yeah. I think that it almost sounds like Ghost of Tsushima as far as like all these different stances and like what's like better like prioritized for certain enemies. But if you could just run through the game just like headstrong like, then maybe you could just like brute force everything with one stance.
It's like this. It's like you technically could, however, there are definitely some enemies where it's going to be like, okay, so if you use this, you're definitely going to have an easier time than you would if you just use a different style.
Okay, that's fair. What else was there? How does the I guess the level tree system work out for you?
Oh, I'm liking the level tree system. It's been nice.
Okay, cool. How expansive would you say it is compared to like the first one, the first game?
It's definitely similar in
Oh,
regard.
sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Google Assistant just went off. Okay, continue.
I swear. It's similar in a regard, but but it's also just trying to think how to describe similar but different.
Okay, fair.
It's
Okay.
just a lot of the game. A lot of the game does insert a lot of ways feel like an improved version of Fallen Order. It's also been made new. It's been improved and it's been like expanded upon, I would say.
Okay.
On top of that, can I just say for a second, bro, Kobo is huge. The world that you like the world that you spend the most time on in the game, that place is fucking massive.
What kind of world is Como?
Kobo is I would say the planet itself is it's like a very grassy. It's got some certain parts to it that are like a
Okay.
bit different, grassy, mountainous.
Is it?
However,
Hmm.
however, they have certain areas in the game where it's like, yeah, there's some lava over here, or there's like less forest stuff over here.
Is it? Does it serve as kind of like an open sandbox, like hub world for you?
Semi-open.
Semi-open. Okay.
It is very large, but it's a very large like actual planet. The planet's actually ridiculously huge.
Mm,
But for like as compared to last game especially.
yeah.
But I wouldn't say it's open world. It's defined as semi-open world, and I'm like, yeah, that's accurate.
Are we talking like open zone, like Sonic Frontiers, or?
Like Sonic Frontiers. Like, yeah, there's like for the most part, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, all right.
I would say you could describe it that way.
Got it. Okay.
And I think you start off the game with all your powers you had in the beginning of the last, or all the powers you had at the end of the last game. So you've got your push, your pull, your lightsaber throw.
Nice.
Your stop, however, is not a basic ability. Now your stop is more of ultimate ability.
Ah, damn.
So your stop, you want it. So your stop, like there's also, I didn't realize this. I never
Hmm.
heard about this about the game. There's perks now.
The perks, as far as
These little things you can attach that are called perks that you can attach to slots like on your character, and
oh,
they
okay,
give little benefits.
little benefits. They don't like. They sound like just like nice little touches, but could they be also more? Is what you're implying?
Oh yeah, they could be more. There's one that increases XP.
I'm always down for that.
There's
Always.
one that increases max stims.
Oh God.
One that makes your parry timing shorter, but you deal
yeah.
more stamina damage.
Oh, that's nice.
One that increases your block meter,
Hmm.
your lightsaber throw damage.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, everything works out. And and of course they've added in a lot more force powers. Like you could tell, like I do like that they're making it so Cal is actually growing stronger with the force.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's learning more.
Got you.
Like you're able to use the mind trick now.
Okay, cool.
You can use the mind trick to confuse enemies to attack each other.
Oh yeah, okay, got you.
There's also one that's a lot of fun, which is I haven't used it because I keep forgetting that I have it. I got that in the skill tree. I keep forgetting it. Focused sight.
Focus sight.
Hold B to automatically evade incoming melee attacks.
Bruh. Final Fantasy 15?
but it takes, of course, it takes force energy to use.
Yeah.
Because and I didn't realize that in the beginning of the game. That's what the first boss fight was using. I was like, that's what she was. I was wondering what that was. I was like, 'cause every time I tried to hit her, it would never hit her.
And she's
So
always like,
I was like, oh, that's what she was using.
Got you. So even some of the bosses will use, especially those like hailing from either Jedi or Sith, they will also use like similar like moves as you would, which makes sense, like practically. But in the game, oh, that changes things.
And of course, you've already seen from the trailers and know about the High Republic Jedi that is in the game.
Maybe not by name specifically, but go ahead.
Yeah, you don't know him by name, but you've seen him. Like he is definitely been an interesting. Like we haven't learned terribly much about him. We've learned some about him, and he's so far been interesting.
Okay.
Certainly been a interesting story. Like I definitely want to see where this goes because I know I've been to 4 planets, and there's about 6 in total.
Oh, okay.
Like, and of course I'll have to see how the ending of the game goes. But of course I don't know if they plan on doing, because I could see this platform being used for a little bit of story DLC, but I don't know if they want to do that or not. We'll see.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what their plans for content are, whether it be like just small little updates like they did with Fallen Order, if it's going to be actual expansions.
Got you.
I think it'd be cool if they did expansions, but I don't know how the ending of the game is going to go.
Yeah, I guess you have to figure that out first and foremost, whether it be like a world that like you'll be doing before like the end of the game, technically speaking, but obviously when you beat the game you can do what you need to do.
And of course, one mechanic I didn't realize was in the game. I was like, this is a part of the game, excuse me. Because you played Fallout 4, right?
Yeah, I have.
You remember how you could build towns?
Yeah, I remember that.
You're essentially doing that.
I think I saw reviews that talk about that too, where it's like you're rebuilding your like you're building up a hub world.
You're building up Grease's Cantina and all that, and like
something like that.
Stuff like that as time goes on. It's really
that's nice.
Like, I'm building a city. That's cool as shit.
Let's see. I have any other questions? I think I think ultimately I just wanted to like get your input. Like, do you think it's worth the $70 like as it is right now, just with everything considered?
I would say if you're a fan of Star Wars and you would like to follow an order, I would say yeah, get the game.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But I would also say that I mean I got it when it was 10% off.
Really? I was like, wait, 10% off already?
Although I probably got it that way because like I have Game Pass.
Oh, oh, is
and
it
EA
on?
Play.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess it's on. Wait, is it on Game Pass already? Should be
No,
then. No.
what I'm saying is, because think about it, because when you have Game Pass, you have EA Play.
Right.
So I assume that's probably why I was able to get a 10% discount.
Oh, okay.
So I got it for $63 instead of $70.
Instead of 70. Oh, okay. You know, that actually does help a lot. Because yeah, games are gonna keep rising in pricing, and we might like see it like stagnate for a little bit, but it'll definitely go up as time goes on, as the tech really gets better. And I think it's cool that we actually have like a current gen game, in the midst of a lot of them that are still trying to like stick with like the previous gen. Not that I have any issues with it. It's definitely a weird time period that we have where, you know, Nintendo aside with just utilizing the Switch, but we have Xbox and PlayStation and like really trying to make it accessible for others to play like newer games. And that's great, but also at the same time, like it does kind of limit like what you can do with current gen stuff. So with that, like I'm looking forward to seeing like how that all like improves later on. It does suck though when you just kind of like go based off of like what Twitter is saying, and you're seeing a lot of people like just complaining about like performance issues. It's still the PC one for the most part, but
yeah, I haven't seen many complaints. I haven't seen any complaints about the console version.
yeah, a lot of like what I'm seeing as far as like console being like an issue is a little bit more vague than like people posting clips of the PC version instead. So
I think the console, it's more what's the word? Anecdotal. It's like, some people have issues, some people don't.
Yeah, and obviously the ones who have issues will be the first ones to talk about it.
They'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Essentially. And that's why I've come across with one user. Like he was really just up the wall about like how bad of an experience he was having, and based on what he shares, it's valid. But no one's really talked about it, which is probably why a lot of reviews that I saw of it were really good, like across the board.
I know like the reviews of the game, like at the game as a game, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it was getting, because it was acknowledged that it was being review bombed by the PC players that were upset.
Yeah, which kind of sucks. I think Metacritic was actually trying to consider like how to like better manage that, because that really does like bog down like the overall reputation of a game, especially since
it was just like,
yeah.
guys, why you got a review bomb? Like seriously, why? Like you're not doing anyone any favors.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's tough because I don't know exactly if you could really specify by platform instead of just like the general game as itself, because everyone can say like, oh, it has a great story, the combat's like super cool. It's just like my personal performance experience really, I can't like pass it with like an 8 or something like that. I gotta put it down to a 6 or something like that. So
I just think people being disingenuous with the reviews because of the performance, are just like downgrading it just because. I'm just like, come on, guys, like let's wait. Why don't you just wait for the actual performance issues to be fixed and then actually give the game like a God's honest review?
Mm-hmm. What's your take on I guess games like having like those like day 0 to day 1 patches? Do you think that's happening a little bit far too often? Do you think that's because
I think the argument could be made that it's happening too often. It's in this day. I do agree that in this day and age, it shouldn't be nearly as like prevalent as it is. That definitely is a problem.
Because I'm also leaning towards that too, where it's like it's super cool that like they'll continue to work on a game, but sometimes it feels like it happens a little too often, like almost as if the game just is not complete as it is. And that kind of leads to the whole argument, like why like why are we releasing unreleased games? And then that argument becomes a little bit more like generalistic as far as like we're paying full price now for incomplete games, and it follows that narrative. And some of that falls in lines with Jedi Survivor in this case, but good to know, because I was really thinking about like getting it myself and like doing the let's play and everything like that, and that'd be super cool. But I was also worried about like it really just hiccuping and like crashing like crazy. But it's good to know, because I have it on. Well, I have Jedi Fallen Order on Xbox. It was just like it was on sale physically, so I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and get that real quick. And then yeah, I was just gonna follow the same like pattern when it came down to a Jedi Survivor. So that's good to know. Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about as far as Jedi Survivor?
No, because like anything else would probably be like anything else probably in terms of like spoilers in terms of the story.
Oh, okay, got you. But that's good. Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Well, I did want to talk about this, because as the weeks like go by, we get closer to Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. It's definitely one of the games I'm definitely anticipating, alongside Final Fantasy. No, that's we're fine.
I was gonna say, I was like, hold, because that tone in your voice, I was like, something happened. It was delayed, wasn't it?
Nah, it's just like I'm at fault here because I'm part of the problem. I saw that like they have a special edition for Tears of the Kingdom as far as like a Switch OLED, and I was like, man, dude, you
were not about to buy a third. You were not about to buy a third.
No, like, all right, let me finish first. So I mean,
let me cook.
Let me land.
Let me land.
Oh, so obviously I have the Splatoon 3 one, which I think is like one of the first like specially designed Switch OLEDs. I love this thing because I love the colors. The Switch dock's okay, but if you look up like upon further like investigation, you'll see that there's a lot of design like put onto the dock as well. So I really like that. But god damn it, that Tears of the Kingdom Switch OLED is there.
It's so clean.
So I have it right here. And
what?
So yeah, I caved.
Oh shit.
So I have it right here, and honestly, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't regret this anymore. Because obviously, like,
no way.
So I have yet another Switch OLED, and hopefully, out of the line of Switch OLEDs, I hope, genuinely hope, that is the last one. That's the last one I'll ever like pick up before like a Switch 2 or something like that. Because man, dude, I personally can't be doing that. I have my 2017 like day one Switch. That's still working relatively properly, except for like the Joy-Cons, which I got those repaired.
Your Splatoon OLED.
I have a Switch Lite because at that point, because I just kind of like wanted that for collection purposes. And then there's a Splatoon one, which is my Switch OLED. So like that's kind of okay just to upgrade. But now I have Tears of the Kingdom OLED, which is like unnecessary, but I just wanted it. So that's 4.
Anyone need a Switch? You got some.
Hey, we can talk.
Hey, you know.
I suffered a little bit of a hit here, so if we can discuss like prices on a quote unquote like, well, not even quote unquote, a pre-owned Switch OLED, hit me up. Let me know. Although I still love that. God, I still love it though. Do what you love to do, people. Just be wary. It just, my God, I can't even tell you. Like, they're both good in their own right, but man, do I love like the Tears of the Kingdom Switch OLED. And the best part is though, is that like these units are actually a lot more like readily available than. Well, actually, I think that could be said with all the other Switch like OLED models. But yeah, they're readily available too, which is really great. So it's not one of those things where it's like you've had to have been there, like me and Special Edition Fire Emblem Fates for 3DS Special Edition, all in one cart. So I missed out on that. It hurts a lot. I think about it, like occasionally.
Every day, every day.
I think about it occasionally. But with something like Tears of the Kingdom, I'm actually happy that it's like readily available because I think obviously I probably would have still gotten it anyway. But one of the reasons I got that was because like of a concern about like limited quantities, similar to like the collector's edition for Tears of the Kingdom. So so right now what I'm doing is just simply going through that process, and this is like the one thing that really sucks about like getting like another Switch. It's just like doing data transfers. Like you're transferring save data. You, if you want to do this, you can also like back it up to like your computer in case you have to like. Well, you're gonna have to reformat like whatever SD card. It's also a question of whether or not you want to upgrade to another SD card, or do you want to move like the existing one you have into the other Switch, which that gets reformatted, and you have to re-download everything, regardless. And
So in short, hey yo, this SD card though.
yeah, and like I've been at the very least, thank goodness, I've been skipping off of like getting a larger like SD card. I've been just slowly upgrading here and there, just whenever like I'm
You just
full.
get like a several terabyte one now at this point.
I think the limitation, and I don't think there is such a thing as like this particular type of micro SD, but I think the maximum is technically two terabytes of a micro SD. But I don't think that exists. There's only like a 1 terabyte one like roaming around.
I've seen other terabyte other like I don't know if they're Nintendo branded, but I've seen ones that aren't Nintendo branded that are higher.
More than 1 terabyte? Bruh,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But yeah, I've been debating whether I want to like eventually go upgrade to a 1 terabyte, which probably will happen. Like if we know that like the Switch is gonna stop like having games like specifically for that platform, then I'll probably have a better like idea of like how much I'll have at the end of it. But right now I'm sitting with a I think a 256 gig, and I used up half a gig because the previous one was 128. So that's it's working relatively progressively, and I'm definitely saving a lot just by like doing physical copies instead. But I do have some digital here and there. Man, dude, when I tell you that Monster Hunter Rise looks like it was downloaded digitally, but it isn't. It's because all that Sunbreak content.
They just added a Matsu.
There's so much stuff. It's its own game.
Like I've been trying to catch up because I hadn't been on it since I sent in my Joy Cons, but yeah,
Right,
they added
right,
the Matsu, which is like an Elder Dragon I've never had the chance to fight until now.
That's actually really cool that they do that. But yeah, other than like Sunbreak, there's a couple other like digital games I have which are kind of like bigger in file size. I think the largest I do have is really just East 8, and that's just fully digital because I couldn't get physical, and that's like I think 17 to 18 gigs, which I mean like Switch games are pretty small. They have to be. Except for some exceptions. I think Doom, like Doom 2016, Doom Eternal are actually a few exceptions where like it's a very large game, and like with the internal like storage, you can't really fit that in there. You need like an actual like micro SD like hold all the data there. But yeah, been saving a lot because of that specifically. But yeah, kind of going full circle about that. How was my last question in regards to Jedi Survivor? How was the data management for that?
It was fine. I mean, I had to clear some space, obviously, but I mean, it was it's fucking massive.
Yeah, it's huge. But
Which I get now after playing because I'm like, yeah, this game pretty damn big.
do you I guess I haven't. Yeah, another question. How's load timing on that one?
It's fine.
Okay, fair enough.
No big issues with load timing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. So I now have to prep a video in regards to the Tears of the Kingdom Switch OLED, doing some recommendations, like should you upgrade or not, and etc., etc. And that's gonna be on the Tanuki channel.
Explaining why you have this many switches.
Explaining why I have a problem.
Explaining why you have a problem.
I have access to spending money, which is also like both a gift and a curse. Because like, what are you doing? Like, oh, nothing, just buying into like some hobbies here and there. Just sucks that these hobbies can be a little pricey here and there, but I think if you look into it, I think any hobby can be kind of like that. My particular thing is, unfortunately, is just like games and like cool little gadgets here and there. Speaking of which, I got this guy. It's not the full package thing, but this thing is an Nreal adapter. Funny enough, it's the first thing that came in, like literally overnight. But the next weekend, or at least by next Friday, I should receive the actual Nreal like product. Just to let you guys know, it's like their AR glasses. Essentially, they have like an app that can like work with iOS or Android. Lets you like connect like to your phone and just have a display on like in the real world space. But the cool thing about this,
They are augmented reality.
yeah. So the cool thing is that like they have some adapters here and there so that you can actually like hook up HDMI through your game console to it. So you can display your game like right in front of you, like wherever you are, as long as like you're like hardline to it. So I definitely want to make a video about that. I just kind of wanted to have it.
I was gonna say, I know you got that just cause.
I got that because I was really like, I needed more reasons to justify the purchase, and it took a little bit, but I got myself into it.
I found the justification.
I found the justification. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one for sure. And I can't wait to do a video on that. Also, well, actually, I don't know if we should really like talk about like here versus like on Tanuki, but we got plans going on the following week, so we may not have like a traditional podcast, if any, for the next week. Just letting everybody know in advance about that. But yeah, no. So kind of going back to Tears of the Kingdom, it's definitely just like an aesthetic choice. Otherwise, like a standard like Switch OLED, or even if you didn't care about that, a standard like Nintendo Switch will do you just fine. It's both like a good thing about like Nintendo, and it's also kind of a bad thing because they'll literally sell you because like that's how strong like their IPs can be. Just like, oh, just like a fresh coat of paint, easy, done, sold immediately. But there's no like upgrades.
That's how all custom consoles usually work. Like,
I guess so, yeah.
Like, designs. It's like they're selling you on the design, really.
That's, yeah, you know what? That's also true as well. Because like the Xbox has had a couple of them. PlayStation, very few, but I've been seeing stuff about Final Fantasy 16 having like it's only showing up for Japan, I believe, at this time, but
like a custom PS5.
Yeah, custom PS5. I think it's more plating stuff, which makes more sense. But there's actually like a whole bundle for it too. So it should just be like its own specialized version for it. Yeah, and that's like it comes with like 16, like the plates for like the actual PlayStation 5 is there. The controller gets its own like cool customization. It's both minimal but also like impactful as well as far as just branding it. So that's super cool. I promise I will not get another one of those. I promise you. That I can't really justify because like that's a full $500.
Until the next Fire Emblem game comes out and they announce how they have their own new version of it.
It depends on how sick it looks. To this day, I justify the fact that I'm not getting the Scarlet and Violet one because I like the Splatoon one more. Although I guess if I had the hindsight for it, I probably would have gotten like Scarlet and Violet instead.
The Scarlet and Violet one looked better in my opinion.
Really? I couldn't vibe with the color scheme of it.
I mean, maybe I'm misremembering it, but it didn't look that bad in my opinion.
It doesn't look bad. I just like, God, I just love the Splatoon one. And when it came down to like, can I justify like getting another Switch OLED? One, no. Second of all, design wise, maybe.
Can I justify it? No. Still did it, but
Can I justify it? No. And it's like, yeah, at least you understand that.
it's like, well, at least you're aware.
As long as you know. But unfortunately, I think if you were to upgrade to any type of like platform, upgrading wise, Nintendo can be kind of difficult to go through because of the whole data transfer. Xbox was super easy to set up. Like, yeah, it was crazy easy to set up. I just have to put in my login information, like boom. Let's just kind of like sync you up with everything.
Basically, it's just like you get it, you just log into your account and you go.
Yeah. And I guess to be fair with like Nintendo Switch, it's kind of give or take whether you do digital collection or physical. Where like if you do it all digital, then you know, as far as like you can,
I'd say your life's a lot easier.
it probably I think it does. It just takes a lot longer to just download everything. That's the problem. But at the very least, you don't have to go like scavenge for like your physical copy and then slot it in and check for updates. If you had digital, then everything's just like, oh well, you just press A and then it'll start downloading. But that's also the entire game too, so it takes a while. Poor Phil. He doesn't do digital, but because he does physical and he has to like slot in each card to check for an update, yeah, he has to go through that. Some games don't really have that yet, so.
One man's inconvenience is another's joy.
Yeah, it's true that. Man, dude. I hope he kind of just sticks with his current library, and then like Switch 2 will be like something like of a similar, if not clean slate. In fact, I think if we had a Switch 2 that does backwards compatibility, it'll still be a problem. You'll have to go through everything again. But hey, I mean, I guess Nintendo's been like working on like a unified like login type of thing. So if they keep that up, then that's nice. Should kind of ease up like a lot of things. Similar to how you had like separate accounts for your 3DS or your Wii U, and when it came to like making those two talk to each other, you just link them together through some other like means, and it works out that way too.
So tedious though.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where like you look back on things, you're like, I wish things were just as simple as like just like putting the disc in.
And really, honestly.
Yeah, but we lived in such a weird time. But I guess like last thing I wanted to talk about was I guess I feel like we've been talking about like Tears of the Kingdom for like a little bit longer than like Jedi Survivor, but I did want to lastly like touch up on a lot of previews for the game being lifted from an embargo that we weren't really aware of. But a couple of news outlets followed by a couple like influencers / like content creators were able to post like varying like lengths of videos of what they have played of Tears of the Kingdom, like some demo like files, followed by whatever Nintendo wanted to let them like showcase like on the channel, their video. And it looks great. I think the biggest thing, just kind of summarize it all together, because it shows a lot of stuff as far as like, or expands more on like your repertoire of stuff. And I think your abilities, as well as the Sky Islands, really do a lot to diversify this game from the first one. And I think the main takeaway you can get out of those previews is that like those abilities really separate what is Breath of the Wild gameplay versus Tears of the Kingdom gameplay, because just three of the abilities like tackle three aspects like of the original game, being traversal to like combat, and there was another one, but essentially like they tackle all the different aspects of it, where like you could tackle things the exact same way you do as in Breath of the Wild, but if you decide to embrace a lot of the new mechanics, then you have like a lot of like oh aha moments. So also Korok seeds are back. That's also a thing. Yeah, that's one thing that Anaya had to be needing to know for, so good luck on that, boy. Which reminds me, I should probably go back and like see if I need to get anything from that. Do I need to collect all the... No, I don't. I don't have to go get the Korok seeds, but I almost kind of want to do it. I don't have the time to do that. Similar to me wanting to go back to Jedi like Fallen Order and like maybe do some kind of challenge video for that one in time for Jedi Survivor, which can't really be done right now, but it's still a thought that I had in mind.
Literally out.
Literally out now. Yeah, we're getting busy. We're all getting busy as we get older. Tomorrow we can't really film our podcasts with Phil for Kingdom Hearts because I'm personally like taken up, which is kind of rare for me, but that unfortunately happened. I'm gonna be visiting my brother. His birthday was actually yesterday, and we're gonna go celebrate with him over the course. Well, tomorrow we're gonna go celebrate his birthday tomorrow, so we have to be out there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. This is like the last like week for April. This week has gone by pretty fast. I think as far as like it's another like 30-day like month, but I guess when I look at the actual weekdays, there's only like 20 of them. So like work goes by like really fast. And then once we roll into May, it's really like everyone's getting really hyped for like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which reminds me I should probably give like a disclaimer for everybody. Be sure to mute your stuff as far as possible like tags that get posted for Tears of the Kingdom. I think there was like a screenshot of someone like opening up like their collector's edition of that game, and it's like that's pretty early, so watch out for any type of postings because those guys are not under embargo. I bet you Nintendo ninjas will still get at you for it.
Oh, they will. Nintendo ninjas have done it for far less.
For far less. Have you ever kept up with that whole thing with Point Crow, someone who mods Breath of the Wild, and how Nintendo?
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's massively like saddening.
He's like their biggest Zelda creator.
Yeah, it's tough for him, but
like shooting themselves in the foot by doing that to him.
It's true.
Because he's like one of your biggest fans.
I revisit a lot of that talk in the Nintendo podcast, and they were talking like to Point Crow specifically about like how this is going about, how things have changed, well, how very little has changed with Nintendo's like perspective on like content sharing for their games. I still remember when they were talking to Kit and Krista, like some ex-employees from Nintendo, the ones who did the social media stuff, they did the Nintendo Minute, etc. And they were talking about how when they were bringing up the topic of doing podcasts, like some Nintendo reps were like, "What are you talking? Why would people want to sit around and like listen to people talk about like our stuff? Wouldn't they want to like embrace like the other stuff?" That's my words in their mouths. But essentially, it seems like they just don't really understand that front, and I get that, but also you can also embrace it. So, and it's the same situation when they were offering up doing like a fun Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge, and apparently like some folks who were like responding like as like legitimate like representatives, they were like, no, that's on a level of modding. We don't like that. That's not how we play our games. No. And I was like, bruh, it's not even modding. It's just self-inflicted like challenge difficulty like input into a game where you don't need to do that, but it's different. Also, Soul Killer is in the chat. Hello. But it's weird. And now they're kind of doing the same thing with Point Crow. And if I understand it correctly, I think the issue is that like they're not getting like funds from the mod itself, which he had released publicly. So they can't really hit him up with that. But there's kind of like a how do we describe it? It's kind of like, well, when we stream games, for example, like none of those rights like are from us. Like it's still from like the company that they own the rights to the game, but they're allowing it because it's free advertisement. That'd be the same case with Nintendo, but Nintendo's also kind of like iffy about that, where like in this case, it seems that the argument is that it's the fact that you're showing the game, and that's how they're trying to tag him, which obviously goes against everybody else because we literally do the same thing too. But they found a loophole in that, and it's like, man, dude, that sucks. Because I kind of understand to like some degree that like, if you're like Kotaku, right, where like you actually like openly tell people how you can like play like Metroid Dread through emulation.
Right? Because I mean, it's a free news outlet, free freedom of speech. Like they're not saying like, hey, they're not saying do it. They're just saying, hey, if you wanted to.
That's true, but like obviously Nintendo sees that. I was like, you just like promoted like not buying our games. Now we're gonna blacklist you, Kotaku.
Freedom of the press.
But in the case of like Point Crow, like it's one of those things where like he had his copy, so whatever it means he was able to like backlog that into his computer and like add like specific mods to it, pretty much like breathing new life into the game and find different ways to like play it again, which is great. But I think Nintendo saw that as like that's you're not like promoting like the game itself, more of a like an extension of the game, which goes a little outside of our stuff. So no, that's just me kind of like thinking about that. But I don't know, it's weird with Nintendo. So I don't know what he's gonna do, Point Crow, but yeah, it looks like he would like to play through Tears of the Kingdom, but he just probably doesn't know how to go about that. And he might, like, in turn, just start to span out to other, like, franchises as well, as far as, like, what can you do with this game or that game. But, yeah. Very interesting tangent I wanted to go on, but, yeah. But, let me see. Oh, we're about to hit an hour. Mark, was there anything else you want to bring up before we call? Any other news that we should be aware of? I know that I know with My Hero, you said that My Hero is there, like the new chapter, but for us, like who are just kind of like watching it, like reading it legally, it's just like we still have to wait like a whole week. Yeah, gotcha. People are fighting, that's for sure.
But in terms of anything news in the manga and anime world, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Other than just like new episodes of shows that have come out, like, hey, go watch them because they're great.
Yeah, it is a pretty stacked like season as well.
Oh yeah, Dr. Stone's been great. Mashal's been great. Definitely go check out some shows this season because a lot of them are really good.
But okay, in that case, I guess we're good to go. So we'll go ahead and call it here. So guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in for an episode of DangIT Prodcast. It's been episode 457. My name is Justin.
All right.
And thanks for watching, everybody. #bye, everybody.